does it feel like there's almost, is there two renditions to this team, like the team mid-December and the team that you guys have now?
Yeah, I think, you just got to let a season play out. I think, at least from my perspective, I feel like externally, internally, I felt like with how last year started and we just kept flowing, there was an expectation to just come out the gates and do the same thing. That's not easy to do. Understanding that there's going to be, especially when you have injuries, there's going to be different things in a season that's going to, there's different hurdles, and at the end of the day, I've played on teams that typically peak January, February, and I've started off slow. So like for me, this is good. This is trending in the right direction. But, at the end of the day, just I think as a whole, as a group, we finally found our identity of who we are, what we can be. We're not the same team as last year. We play differently. That's one thing. We have different guys. So it takes time. And then on top of that, when you have guys hurt, coming in for a game, coming out, and then you have guys hurt for 6 to 8 weeks, it changes things. So I think now we're starting to figure it out, and, it's a credit to everybody, the guys on NBA TV said it, which is, I think they said checking the egos at the door. I think all of us have found our identity in that and continue to play, the way we want to play.
It's interesting you bring that up, the checking the egos at your door, because do you even feel like, though, that this team had to do that?
No, but, that's a very underrated thing, you know what I mean, like to not have to do that. So I think that's what I speak to, because, that's not the case all the time. I think everybody came in 1 through 15 with the right intentions. It was just a matter of how, you know what I mean? And I think that's huge, especially when you have, you have older guys, you have younger guys. It's not like everybody's, 7, 8 years in the league, so being able to have that camaraderie in the locker room, having that unselfishness as a group starting from day one, since I got here, that's a championship level mindset. We just have to continue to put it together, and, we're not even there yet. We're continuing to play, at the right level and having the right mindset, but I'm going to keep saying it's February 7th. This is great. We're on a great winning streak, but at the end of the day, we're trying to play until April, be in the best position, but, definitely not, satisfied with where we're at.
When you're on the roll that you guys have been on, what does that do confidence-wise for you guys, knowing when you go out on the floor, there's got to be a certain amount of confidence to you every time?
I think, for us, just continuing to play the way, we know how to play, knowing what we go, like knowing where we are, where our spots are, knowing all these different things. And, tonight we didn't start out well. We didn't play our best basketball. And, for us to kind of still know that, acknowledge that, and be able to fix it. It's not always going to be pretty. We're not always going to blow teams out. But, it's something to fall back on, understanding that we have a foundation, especially defensively, offensively, continue to push the pace. And like I said, it's anybody. Anybody can score, anybody can pass, anybody's getting the ball up the floor and moving it. So it's been good, but it's definitely a level of confidence. And the biggest thing now is controlling it, continuing to, play, confident basketball, but not coming in every arena or coming in every place thinking teams are just going to roll over and we're just going to win. You know what I mean? I think that's, that can be, the downside of playing really well at this time. So just continuing to, having the mindset of every night we got to go get it because teams are coming for us.
Chris.
Donovan, with the trade deadline tomorrow, what is the feeling in terms
tomorrow.
of what you guys have and what you still need?
Well, I mean, the fact that I didn't know it was tomorrow, I think, speaks volumes. I think we're in good shape. I don't think anybody in the locker room is thinking about it. Like I said, the fact that I don't think we've ever talked about it outside of other teams. You know what I mean? So I think that just speaks volumes to what we got going on here. And I think we're in good shape. I think we all think that and feel that, and we have a lot to accomplish with this group. So I think we're excited about that.
When did you have the belief that you guys have enough?
I would say last year, like with the way we played. I mean, obviously, we're judged by how you do in the playoffs. But when you win 51 games, I get traded 3 weeks before camp. You have a new team, new adjustment. That's no like small feat. You know what I mean? I think for me, it was like, okay, cool, this is who we are. And obviously, none of us played the way we wanted to play in the playoffs. But coming back, and then you add Max, George, 2 championship level guys who played, at the highest level, who can shoot, can space the floor. Sam Merrill's emerged. I think for us, and also internally, we've gotten better. There was always a belief. Now I think the biggest thing is we're playing like it. We're all healthy, knock on wood, and continuing to build from there.
Jeff.
Donovan, we missed a little bit of the beginning of the conversation. When you talk about identity, what does that mean for this team?
like what is our identity? You mean? I think it's our defense. I think, hanging your hat on that. We've held some really good teams, offensive teams, to under 100 points, and that's tough to do in this league, or around 100. Obviously we didn't. I don't know if we didn't do it tonight. Did we do it tonight? No, it's right here. No, we didn't, but we were close. To have that, especially when Ev went out, when you have your Defensive Player of the Year candidate and the first team all-defender come out, guys stepped up, whether it was Dean Wade, Isaac Okoro, obviously Jared Allen's been phenomenal. Guys have stepped up in many different ways. So I think that's what we hang our hat on. And then once we get stops, we're off to the races, and the spacing we have allowing us to push, allowing us to create for each other, makes the game easier for each other.
A little similar question that Chris just asked, but did you get the sense that this was coming, the way you guys have been playing?
Yeah, it's hard to win. Was it 15 out of 16? It's hard. I wouldn't say I necessarily saw like that coming, but I think I definitely saw our best basketball moving forward. And like I said, I said it at the beginning of the year too, like when we were injured, like I'm never going to sit here and say, oh, like we lost these games because we're hurt. But like it's hard to build camaraderie with a new group when when guys are in and out the lineup every day. And now you're starting to see what we look like continuously. And I saw it in camp. We all saw it in camp, and I think now it's, starting to find its way. But the biggest thing is now that it's here, let's not get complacent about it. Let's continuing to build on it. Because like I said, it's only February 7th, so I still got some time.
Last two, Joe and then Joe.
I asked JB the same thing, but I wanted to ask you, do you think you guys play loose, or do you think you play with a chip?
I think it's subjective to each person. I think that everybody has a chip to want to be better and want to win a championship. I will say that. But I think some guys are better playing loose. I think about a Jared Allen. He definitely has a chip, but he also plays better when he's smiling, playing free and playing loose. Dean Wade's the same thing. But you look at a guy like Max, like definitely playing with a chip, more like, hard-nosed about it. I think myself, kind of the same thing. DG, I think, is, free-flowing, happy, and Evans the same way. So I think that's what kind of makes our group special, is like everybody has that common goal of a championship mindset, but you go about it differently, which brings different energies to the group, and it's all positive. You know what I mean? So I think it's different for every person, but I think it all helps us, to get to where we want to get to.
Donovan, it seems like Darius is obviously a little frustrated trying to work his way back in, and that was kind of evident there. It seemed like you grabbed him by the shoulders at one point. What are you doing as a leader to kind of get his confidence back?
Yeah, they were like, especially at the end of the game, like I think it was the missed layup, the missed three where he had like, those are shots I've seen him make. We've all seen him make. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of getting your basketball rhythm back. It's not like he's not capable. You know what I mean? So my biggest thing was just telling him, like, we're taking those shots. The only thing we talk about is like, all right, cool, like the turnovers. Like, I had 5, he had 3. Those kill us, especially against a team like that where we run back. Like, those are the plays where it's like, all right, cool, we got to be better at. And be able to have that relationship where we could talk about that, you know what I mean, and on the floor, in game, and be like, all right, this was a bad decision. This was a bad decision. This leads to points on the other end. How can us as, point guards, like, find a way, to lead this team. So that's my biggest thing. I have no doubt that he's going to continue. He's going to find it. It's, what is this, his third, fifth game back? Like, it's not just going to just click. It's always, especially when you're as a shooter, it's always going to find ways. But look at tonight, like, misses a layup that he makes, it's in and out. The three's in and out. So it's not like, it's not there, and it's like we haven't seen it. Just continue to get adjusted, and I have no doubt, that he'll be, right when we need him.